I downed that vodka lemonade within minutes. My name is Jessica Ping-Wild, also known as the Rolling Explorer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm taking you behind the scenes of my final day at the September run of London Fashion Week as both a wheelchair user and an amputee. Stay tuned to watch me work my favorite outfit of the week and have a complete but justified meltdown on my way to my final runway event. Things are about to get wild, y'all. Let's go. Quick little poll for you all. Is there a more powerful feeling than being out in public at 8 a.m. in full glam wearing an outfit that you absolutely adore? Because personally, I've not experienced empowerment like that in a really long time. I felt like such a little fashionista, and as a creator, my own personal style is something that I've been working on, I feel like, for the last couple of years, and it's something that now that I'm an adult and buy my own clothes and all of those sorts of things, I feel like I'm fully able to like come into, but I haven't yet, and I feel like that was like the epitome of me, and I love that. It was bright, it was red, it was colorful, it was fun, it was flirty, it was feminine, and it was super empowering, which when you mix all of those things together, it's just the perfect little conglomeration of joy and confidence and happiness. Now, this venue had two entrances. Unfortunately, the main entrance had one single step to get into, so I had to go around the back, and so they just let me come in early, which was really nice. The models were actually still practicing when we got in there, but we didn't feel like we had any spoilers. Plus, this situation offered the perfect environment for me to enjoy my morning croissant, which was my only form of breakfast that morning. It was a 9 a.m. show, keep in mind, and it was across town. So we'd been going since the very early moments of the morning, and your girl was hungry. One aspect of this whole experience that I felt kind of bad about in the moment, even though upon reflection, I know it was just internalized ableism coming to the forefront of my brain. Hi, love you, thank you. Was the fact that the designer and a lot of the team that were running the event had to move these bulkier pieces of the outfits that were set up backstage through the area that I needed to come through to enter to get to the front row. And it wasn't like it was a huge deal, but I just know, having done my own runway, how chaotic it can be backstage and how every single person is running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So having to pause even 2 minutes to take care of these outfit pieces just felt like a massive inconvenience at the time, and I just remember feeling a lot of guilt around it. And I'd be lying if I said that that guilt completely has gone away, because it hasn't. But as I said, that's internalized ableism, or the ableism that disabled people themselves hold in their own brains about themselves and the disability community. Because yes, disabled people can be ableist, and most of us are, because it's systemic, because it's built into society, and because it's what we were taught, just like everybody else. But that is a video for another day. Once we got settled on the front row, I just remember feeling this overwhelming sense of excitement for the show that was about to unfold. KWK by Cakewalk is meant to be this avant-garde, futuristic version of fashion. And the designs 110% lived up to this expectation. Now, before I go off about the fashion, I want to just talk about the one thing that really disappointed me about the show. As an introduction to the first look, there were a bunch of flashing lights going off in time to the music. Now, I myself am not epileptic, but still the flashing was so intense that it kind of made me feel uneasy and nauseous. So if it made me nauseous, I can't even imagine what would have happened if there was somebody in the audience who couldn't be around flashing lights for whatever reason. While I know this artistic choice was made to create suspense and intrigue and excitement, I can't help but wish they had just kept it simple, accessible, and safe, because at the end of the day, this decision could have been massively dangerous. Now back to the actual fun part, the fashion, the looks, the designs. The mini skirt seemed to be a really big part of KWK's range. When the first first mini skirt hit the runway, I was a little caught off guard because I don't think I've ever seen a skirt that short. And I'm not conservative by any means when it comes to fashion, but I just was curious how practical something like this would be. But as it kept coming out, because it was kind of a staple of the KWK line, very clearly, I fell more and more in love with it. I thought it was a vibe. I don't know if I personally would be able to rock it, but I thought it was cool, and it definitely was a runway moment. But with that said, I saw way more butt cheek than I ever expected to while attending this runway at 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, I know this was avant-garde, but it was a bit risque. And these designs did not disappoint in the color department. I just liked the use of color. I thought it was a really nice touch, and it added, I thought, a really joyful vibe to this kind of more out there clothing. One final bit about this show that I absolutely loved was that they used a Miley Cyrus song in the finale. If you know and follow me, then you probably know that I have been a Miley Cyrus fan since her Hannah Montana days, and so that was just like the perfect little vibe check to end the morning. And of course, before leaving the venue, I had to grace the runway with my own disabled strut, particularly because the outfit was too fabulous not to. And then, as if I hadn't gotten enough content in this outfit yet, on our way home, Mary and I came across one of those classic red London phone boxes, and I just had to have one more photo shoot for kicks and giggles. But first, I had to pick out all of the crumbs that I didn't realize had fallen in the fur of my red coat, because, you know, I just sat on the front row of a rostered Fashion Week event with croissant crumbs in my coat. Well done, Jess, well done. Queen of fashion here, queen of class and beauty and all things fabulous. I'm a mess. Anyway, once the crumbs were picked out, the shots turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. Here are a few that you can enjoy. Enjoy them. After this somewhat impromptu photo shoot, Mary and I headed home, where we prepared for a slightly more organized photo shoot. So this is the reality of what being a model slash creator slash whatever is like. I had a really glamorous event this morning at the Cakewalk fashion show, and now I'm on the streets of London trying to go get some Polaroids done for my modeling portfolio. And yeah, I am in a big comfy hoodie, my no shoe on the prosthetic, not wearing it, just gonna slide it on for the sake of the photo. And yeah, this is the reality of being in the creative industry. So basically, this photo shoot was meant to be for modeling Polaroids, which essentially are just photos that show off the natural state of your body and how it looks like in different angles. So I needed some headshots, I needed some full body shots, you get the picture. And the whole point of these photos is that they have no retouching and that you're not supposed to wear any makeup. You're supposed to be as natural to your actual existence as possible. And unfortunately, this photo shoot ended up being a massive waste of time because I was so worn out from Fashion Week. I mean, we'd done 3 full days at this point, and you could literally see the exhaustion, not just in my eyes and the bags and puffiness around there, but in the way that I was holding my body. I just like couldn't even stand straight. It was really bad. In retrospect, this was not the best time to be trying to get these modeling Polaroids. Luckily, I'd already scheduled an editorial photo shoot for the following weekend, which is where I actually got my new modeling Polaroids done and my new headshots done, which I can't wait to show you guys. Be sure you're following me on Instagram if you want to see what those look like when I get them back from the photographer. Our next and final show of London Fashion Week was the Milan Breton show, which, if you don't know, is evening wear. It didn't start until 8 p.m., so even after the modeling Polaroid fiasco, we had plenty of time to kind of relax, get a little bit more work done, and take our time getting ready so we could look our absolute best. About midway through the day, we decided that we were going to leave for the show about an hour and a half to 2 hours early. Our goal was to get to the venue as early as possible so that we could do our networking beforehand and leave as soon as the show was over. As it didn't start until 8 p.m., we knew that the earliest we'd be getting home would be 10. So we were trying to look out for our bodies and be kind to ourselves so we could get a good night's sleep for the first time in 4 days. But based off of the foreshadowing that I gave at the beginning of this video and in day 3's video, I'm sure you already know that this did not happen. I don't have a better way to say this. I'm pissed off. Between my anger at this situation and my delirious state from just being exhausted and the week that I'd already experienced, I didn't explain the situation that well on the bus, but I wanted to keep the clip here so you could see the anger that was radiating off of my face, because that is the important bit here. But I'm still going to give you a better summary right now. Essentially, the long story short of the situation is that because the Queen's funeral was the next day, every single road between my apartment and Oxford Street was closed. We didn't know this was gonna happen, and that had not been the case earlier in the day when we were out and about. So I don't know what time the road closures began, but by 6 p.m. the day before the funeral, everything was shut. So we couldn't get a bus. The tube stations around the venue that we were going to weren't accessible, so that wasn't an option. And we couldn't even get a cab, which was actually our plan all along to save ourselves because we'd had a really tough week and it was dark outside and we just didn't want to deal with everything. So we were going to get a cab, but that wasn't even an option. I couldn't even pay out my ass to make this trip easier. So we ended up having to walk there, or at least 2 miles of the distance, which when you're in evening wear is a long freaking way. Thank goodness, once we eventually got to Oxford Street, we were able to catch the bus, but as you can imagine, since so many other roads were closed in central London, the few that were open were incredibly jam-packed with traffic. So to be honest with you, as much as I knew we needed to get on the bus to save the battery on my chair, Mary, I know, was in pain from having walked all over the city already this week, I don't know if it was any quicker getting the bus. But I'm still grateful that we eventually were able to utilize public transport and get where we needed to go. And I think there's 2 really important messages here. Number 1, there is absolutely no excuse for public transport to not be fully accessible in 2022. It's dangerous, it's discriminatory, and it's just inexcusable. Secondly, and in this particular moment, more frustrating than the previous point that I live with every single day, it's very clear that there was no thought about how the disability community was meant to navigate London with all of the Queen's funeral arrangements going down. But across the entirety of Fashion Week, not just this night, it's very important that you know that this was something that we'd been dealing with the entire 4-day period. We dealt with canceled bus routes, we dealt with tube inaccessibility, of course, and having to walk long distances to get to our final destinations, which is not accessible at all, wheelchair users or not. So this just proves to me that no disabled people were invited to the table to have conversations about how we're going to navigate celebrating the Queen's life in a modern day society. And non-disabled people were probably slightly inconvenienced by a lot of the things that made it almost impossible for me to get around, but not to the same level that I was inconvenienced, because it made it inaccessible. And I'm very grateful that London Fashion Week was overall such a success. But I can't help but wonder how much better it would have been had the transportation been running as usual, had the transportation been more accessible, had London not have been shut down for the disabled population. Just arrived to the fashion show. We are very late because of everything. Hopefully it's not begun. We're dealing with some accessibility issues right now, so who knows what's going on. This has been the biggest nightmare of the whole fashion week, so love that. And in this moment, as if I needed further frustrations, the venue, while technically accessible, had several different hoops to jump through in order to get to the runway space. Here you see an external stair lift, and while these are technically accessible, they are so slow. So what I ended up actually doing in this instance was putting my chair on this lift thing once it got down, stepping off with my prosthetic, asking the staff if they could store it in the cloakroom, and then walking up all of the stairs. Awesome! At the end of Fashion Week, when my leg is absolutely killing me from having worn my prosthetic 4 days in a row, that's exactly what I want to be doing. But I didn't want to miss the show, so that's what I did. And as if I needed any more stress, because, you know, we're just really diving in deep now. The dress that I was wearing, while absolutely freaking stunning, had this huge slit up the front that when I was climbing these stairs, actively was showing my underwear to anybody and everybody who was in front of me. I mean, it was very easy to adjust once I got on like proper flat ground, but as I was climbing the stairs and like it was swishing around and all that, I was embarrassed, I was stressed, oh my God, all of the feelings were being had. I was tense. So with that in mind, as I went to find whatever seats I could this close to the start of the show, Mary went to the bar to get us drinks because at that moment in time, I just needed to calm down, and a vodka lemonade was just what the doctor ordered. Sadly, because we were so late to this event, we were sat in the very back of the venue, and because the models weren't on any sort of elevated platform, it made it really difficult to enjoy the designs. I took some videos, but I just feel like you can't see the outfits very well. Since it's evening wear, a lot of what you're looking at are the skirts of the dresses, and we just didn't get to enjoy those in the same way that we might have had we gotten there on time and been able to sit a little bit closer. But that's not me complaining, that's just me explaining why there's not a whole lot of runway footage to show you. That said, can we take a moment to talk about how gorgeous this venue looked? Because wowzas. But we actually ended up sticking around much later than we thought we originally were going to, because this venue, as you've already heard, had a bar, and a lot of people were kind of mingling slash partying slash really just enjoying themselves and letting loose. And you know what? This is our final event. We wanted to celebrate that. We wanted to celebrate how freaking epic the week had been and how monumental it was for the disability community, myself and my career, and just all of it. So we hung around, we had a good time, we met some amazing people, and just really vibed with the night. And it was honestly the perfect end to my first ever time at London Fashion Week. So yeah, that's it. Before I wrap up this mini series, I want to give you guys some final thoughts and reflections I have from my experience. First of all, and this is about to be a very bold statement, but I feel very confident in saying that of the shows I attended, I was the only visibly disabled person on the front row. And as I'm sure you can imagine, this realization was equal parts terrifying, humbling, disappointing, and powerful. I am so freaking grateful to have been given this opportunity to be a trailblazer in the fashion community for my community, the disability community. And I truly hope that my presence at these events and the conversations that I have spark change going forward. Secondly, and much more lightheartedly, I had so much fun. Like, yes, this was empowering, and yes, this was really important for the community. But it was also fun, and I had a freaking great time, and I genuinely cannot wait for February. And then finally, and most importantly, I have some people I'd like to thank. I want to thank Sarah Regensberger for trusting me to bring her designs to life in her runway show. Sarah, you helped me live out one of my absolute wildest dreams. Plus, you deserve a whole nother thank you for letting me wear your designs to other events I attended throughout the week. You made me feel seen, valued, and super confident. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank the Pop Group, New Gen, and any other PR agency that invited me to a Fashion Week event. I can't tell you what it means to me to have my perspective as a disabled woman respected and valued by these agencies. So thank you for seeing that and being a part of the future of fashion. Mary, you deserve a huge, very special thank you because you put in so much hard work prior to Fashion Week, during Fashion Week, and after Fashion Week. Without you, none of this would have happened, and I can only say thank you for being a part of the experience with me and for making it not only possible, but super freaking fun. And finally, thank you, thank you, thank you to every single one of you who is watching this video right now. If you made it to this point in the video, you very clearly support me and my message, and you've given me a platform that is still to this day overwhelming to think about. I'm so unbelievably grateful that I get to share my story, that I get to take you guys on these journeys, and that I get these incredible opportunities to go out there and be the representation that I've always wanted to see in the world for the disability community. This series may be over, but I have a lot of very exciting content yet to come. If you like this finale episode, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and comment down below any sort of content or questions or anything that you want me to address on YouTube next, because while I have a lot of creative ideas, I still want to hear from you guys and make sure I'm creating content that you actually want to see and learn about. And of course, if you don't want to miss out on any of my future content, be sure to hit the subscription button and the notification bell. Once again, thank you guys so much for coming with me to London Fashion Week, and I can't wait to see what we get up to next. Until next time, bye!